Hi everybody, I'm Henry Gordon-Smith, the Agritecture, and I travel the world visiting all kinds of farms to share with you what inspires me. And today we're at the Chef's Garden here in Ohio, and we stumbled upon this greenhouse that has overgrown, what looks like overgrown arugula and mustard. But I'm reminded by something that Farmer Lee Jones, who leads this business, shared, which is every single part of the plant's life offers something unique to the plate. And the message there is that whether it's the flowers in the mustard or the flowers in the arugula, there's unconventional parts of the plant that we can eat that can be delicious and beautiful. And it's not just for fancy chefs. You can actually have this at home because the Chef's Garden delivers nationwide. So check them out and maybe be inspired by trying something new and creating more variety on your plate today.
Bob Jones with the Chef's Garden in Huron, Ohio. The Chef's Garden is a family business. My brother Lee and myself and an amazing team of people here at the farm. We've been growing specifically for restaurants for a little over 40 years, and COVID provided an opportunity for us to kind of extend that now to home delivery around the country. We've been growing specific varieties, colors, flavors, textures, for the culinary application of fresh plants for many, many years. And we are now selling to restaurants in all 50 states here in the US and 17 countries. Currently, we're growing a little over 600 different varieties of edible plants. That's everything from microgreens, edible flowers, fresh herbs, and more garden type vegetables, carrots, beets, turnips, radish, lettuce, greens, potatoes, etc. Anything that has an unusual culinary appeal to it is something that we get asked to grow and we try to provide for the chefs that we're working with. We're selling to restaurants where dining is an experience. Chefs have been incredibly consistent in their demands of us here at the farm for over 40 years. Flavor, aesthetics, flavor, shelf life, and more flavor. If you don't have flavor, you don't have anything. You just cannot make an outstanding experience for a diner if you don't have great flavor as your base ingredients. So we talk a lot here on the farm that our job is to provide a consistent supply of high quality ingredients for chefs to work with. Regenerative agriculture is obviously a relatively new term. I think we've been farming regeneratively long before we knew what the term meant, because we were constantly looking at the health of the soil and that's impact on the health of the plant. And now what we're understanding even more by working with the medical community is that the health of the soil, the health of the plant, the health of the people, and the health of the planet. Regenerative agriculture is that thread that weaves through all of them, that gives us the opportunity to grow truly outstanding products in a sustainable way. CEA has a unique advantage in regenerative and sustainable because we can control the environmental factors. I mean, that's what CEA is. We can control temperature, light, humidity, CO2, all of those things that we struggle with in outdoor field crops because you just don't have that control. Putting a regenerative layer over top of that, it is what's going on in that soil media, even to the trays that we use. So understanding that every decision we make has impacts, both internally and externally. So understanding those and knowing about what your customers' goals are or visions, what they dream about, what really excites the restaurant diner that's dining in the establishment that we're working with. And how do we help our customers, the chefs, give the very best experience to those diners that they can get by us understanding their needs. Lighting and CEA is a journey, and we have been on that journey for about 30 years. The first crops we grew in protected covered greenhouses had no supplemental lighting. We were only using the natural light, capturing as much of that as we possibly could. We always saw on a yearly basis that it took longer to grow crops in the fall and the winter and the early spring, and the yield and the quality was not quite as good as it is when you have full sun in the spring and don't have temperature extremes. We started out probably on the same path that everyone else did. We had no lights at first, and then we bought used HPS lights, and we grew with those for a while. And they had an impact on the plant. When we started that journey, we have a lab here on the farm, and we compared 15 different manufacturers' lights. Early on in the LED business, manufacturers would come to us and say, tell us what spectrum you want, and we will build the fixture to match exactly what you want. As everybody knows, there wasn't a book on that. Now, there's a lot more information today. With the internet and YouTube, you can find almost anything today. But we just did it on the farm. We took some of our plants and we put different lights on them, different spectrum, intensity, duration, manufacture, and we just did literally thousands of grow out tests to try and find. We actually stumbled across these dynamic LEDs from Sollum. I was at a meeting in Las Vegas, and I overheard a conversation. I asked a couple questions. That it turned into about a 3-hour conversation in a hallway off in the corner. We started with 2 fixtures in our lab, and we played with those, and we got really excited about the results we saw. The plant is the very best meter that you can possibly have. So growing plants under the lights. And then when we started playing a little bit more to understand that we could change color, we could change flavor, we can change antioxidant content or uptake by managing the dynamic light. Understanding then the energy side of this, where the control system really is the beauty. It's the secret sauce is the control system in these lights, because it's measuring how much natural light you're getting. Then you set your DLI target, and it makes up the difference. It's fascinating to see how we can now grow in the shortest days of the year within about 5% of what we can of the highest light time of the year. And the yield has increased by about 30 to 35% growing under these lights, because the plants really do like that intensity and duration. And we love being able to give them to mimic the sun of the sunrise, early day, midday, late day, and sunset. It's a much more natural approach to growing plants under lights that mimic the sun. Well, the dynamic parts of this lighting system are your ability to better control the light and get exactly what you need. The benefit of Sun as a Service is that you now have help, and you have folks that are thousands of miles away looking at each one of your fixtures and the ability to look at the crop and help you through those management decisions. The growers absolutely love this technology because they're understanding it and they can see it every day. It's much more difficult for the folks at Sollum or myself who are not in here, boots on the ground, seeing the crop every single day. The growers have really grasped this technology, and they can work with the agronomists at Sollum in partnership to get a much better result for our customer. Every single decision we make has to positively impact our customer, and Sun as a Service helps us do that. Well, certainly the energy savings is a big part of the ROI. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, some manufacturers would come to us and say, well, LED is so much better than HPS. That's not even on the conversation anymore. HPS is an antiquated process. It's still being used. It still works. You can heat a greenhouse very effectively with HPS. Now, you'll go broke doing it, but you can heat the house. The whole idea of having so much more efficient use of the energy through LED, where so little of the energy that we're consuming is converted to heat. It's all going to the light. And so it runs the house much, much cooler. We don't have to cool the house because we're putting lights in it. So our energy savings is right around 40%. We're saving about 40%. That's not, the key to this is we're saving 40% on our energy spend and getting a better quality product as a result of it. Who knew?
Now I want to talk a little bit more about flavor and nutrition. Decades of research show us that the nutrition of our food has gone down, and that affects our health. In addition to that, I think we can all agree that we have a lot of flavorless fruits and vegetables on the shelf at the grocery store. Well, the chef's garden is trying to grow a range of unique crops that are focused on improving nutrition and improving flavor for chefs and home consumers. So here we are. We're here looking at a unique product that I've actually never tried before, which is called oyster leaf. And this is intended to basically mimic the flavor of an oyster and maybe be something for those vegetarian diets that are getting more popular. It literally has the taste of the sea. And in order to achieve that kind of flavor, you need to have some control over the soil, over the growing practices, and of course the light to stimulate the right nutrition in the plant and that flavor that the chefs are going to want.